This is Wink Tracks the Tropics, powered by the Weather Authority.
When the tropics are active, timing is everything. The Weather Authority is keeping you prepared.
The latest update did come in from the National Hurricane Center. Helene moving north-northeast. Winds have increased up to 90 miles per hour.
Keeping you informed.
It's now 170 miles northwest of us, and as we had mentioned, this is a major Cat 4 hurricane. This is going to have major landfall implications.
Southwest Florida has seen its fair share of storms in the past few years.
We are leaving immediately after this because it is not safe. You're starting to see some of these debris, sticks flying up and out, and it's one of the reasons why Sanibel is evacuated. It clearly is not safe out here.
But our slice of paradise has bounced back in ways we'd never expect.
It was tough.
We had each other, and that's a good thing.
I wouldn't have made it without Marianne. We're going to make it, though. We're going to make it.
Wink News has been there with you every step of the way, and that won't change.
Yes, we avoid the worst part of the storm, but the wind field's growing and the pressures are deepening. We're going to feel more of that influence on the back end with the surge.
From forecast cones to important safety reminders, the Weather Authority has you covered. You're watching Wink Tracks the Tropics. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Wink Tracks the Tropics. I'm Wink's Weather Authority Val Simpson. And Tropical Storm Lorenzo has joined the party as of this morning. That's what we're tracking today. And we're also tracking some really nice, very pleasant morning temperatures in the Southwest Florida region. We're going to be discussing that because we'll let you know how long you have until you enjoy these very nice, crisp mornings. Also, dew points are much lower. So even though your high temperatures are going to be reaching those mid to upper 80s, which is normal for this time of year, it will feel quite nice without that high dew point. And obviously, to talk about all this, I have our panel of Mets, our Wink Authority panel of Mets here with us. Go ahead, Andrew. Punch them up. Let's say hi to everybody. Happy Monday, guys.
Hi. Happy Monday.
How's everybody enjoying the start of the week with these really nice temps?
Loving it.
Feels so good out there.
I know. I think that, yeah, we could say that everybody's probably enjoying them. And we want to hear from you. Let us know. What do you think? Did you wake up with crisp air this morning when you're walking your pets, taking your, well, actually, no school today. So my kids didn't go to school today.
There's no school today?
Yeah, it's Columbus Day, so
Okay.
schools are closed. But let us know. What did you, let us know. What did you feel this morning? Did you like it? Remember, this is an interactive platform. So you can definitely leave your messages, your comments, questions for our panel of Mets, and we will be reading them out loud. Guys, you know how I like to start the episode always with a question of the day. And yeah, obviously, these low temperatures, you know, it's something rare if we compare it to maybe 5 years ago. We weren't seeing these mid to upper 60s in October. But in the past few years, it's more likely we've been waking up to some of these cooler temps in October. But I want to know, what's the wildest weather that you've experienced here in Florida? Let us know what that is. You guys, have you experienced anything
I
wild?
feel like I know what Josh is going to say.
What did you say?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you say Florida, the first thing that will come to your mind is a hurricane, right? I've been in major hurricanes. I've covered major hurricanes. There has been nothing that is crazier than when it snowed.
There you go. There you have it.
I'm telling you, I was just in awe for like that 24 hours, and then it stayed on the ground too.
Yeah.
Like you never thought that you'd have to be driving around in snow and ice in Florida, but there I was.
Yeah, how long did it stick around for?
You know, Zach, here's the thing. It was so cold for like 3 days afterwards. Like I'm talking like the first day afterwards, it stayed below 35 degrees all day. And then the next few days, we still froze overnight. So it stayed on the ground for about 3 days.
Wow.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Did you
Especially
have
for Florida.
gear? Yeah. Did you have gear? Boots?
I mean, I had a hoodie.
That's it. Yeah, we're not prepared. Yeah, that's the thing. Even where you usually don't expect.
I learned how to scrape ice off my car.
Wow.
There you go.
I don't plan on doing that.
Use like a credit card or something? Like,
No, like you had to use a big time one.
Oh, I didn't know they sold those in Florida.
Me either.
Yeah.
Zach, what do you say? I'm still thinking about my answer.
Well, she was mentioning about the 60s, and I want to say, you know, wild. I'm not going to say it's completely wild, but when I was here as a meteorologist in 2018, we had no mornings in the 60s for the entire month of October. And I'm bringing that up because anyone who's been here for a long time or are natives, October is the month I say we all get a little sassy sometimes, not only meteorologists, but I think the entire community does, because we want our cold fronts. We want our cold fronts, and the cold fronts typically arrive in October. But I did some research this morning. I'm going to read from my phone. Back in 2019, 2020, we only had one morning in October, both of those years that we had a morning in the 60s. Before that, we actually had many mornings in the 60s from 2015 to 2016, 2017, 2018. We had at least more than 5 to 6 mornings in the 60s. So it was traditional to get some cold fronts even 10 years ago. But that 2019, 2020 period was very warm. I remember being here in that October and everyone was on edge. Like, give me a cold front. Because it's the time we love here. It's September, October, we get our fronts, we enjoy our weather, we get outside as locals, and the snowbirds aren't here yet. So the traffic is great. So it's like that. It's like that 45 days of a Goldilocks zone for us here, where we get to enjoy our home before anyone else shows up. Golf is still cheap. Golf weather is still perfect. I mean, it really is this this Goldilocks period here in Southwest Florida, where the weather's nice, but also no one's here yet. Yeah.
So we are going to be able to enjoy these nice mornings, right, for a couple of more days.
Lauren, did you think of one yet?
Yeah, we will be able to enjoy the cooler weather at least for a couple more days. My thing I was thinking of was there was a tornado that came through Palm Beach Gardens, my hometown, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that's also where Josh is kind of from, around the area. But I mean, it was just wild because it passed through the neighborhood, and just the amount of damage it left behind. We're talking trees uprooted, dumpsters flipped on cars, and that's when I realized, I was like, wow, I'd never seen a tornado like that before, and just how powerful. And obviously, this wasn't even the scale of the tornadoes that happened in Tornado Alley. This was just a quick tornado that passed through, and cars were flipped, and it was crazy.
And that's the thing about tornadoes, because hurricanes, we know they're coming, right? You've got days to mentally prepare, physically prepare, but a tornado, man, it's just, you get maybe 5 minutes and all of a sudden it's there.
It was freaky.
Yeah, we had that guy during Milton. He was like 10 seconds, and all the 52 years, I think that was the year, for all the 52 years he lived here in Southwest Florida, he never had anything like that. He never had so much damage in 10 seconds, let alone the 52 years all put together. So yeah, tornadoes are, our homes are built to code to get past and withstand tornadoes, but still some of the backyards, the trees, the breakaway fences, it does a lot of damage pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, Lauren, you mentioned Tornado Alley, which is used to where we see these tornadoes. However, it's been trending a little bit more east in the last few years. We've noticed that too, more outbreaks in that area. Very good, guys. Okay, well, let's get started. I want to do a little recap though, because we did wake up in those mid to upper 60s this morning. It was beautiful, lower humidity, and for the rest of the week, we were talking with the panel. You can expect these morning temperatures to last as we move into the end of this week. So more beautiful mornings for the next couple of days. They will stick around, but notice that little uptick that we're going to be seeing in temperatures as we move into the weekend. Obviously, the second half of the weekend looks like it's going to be a little bit warmer, but again, 70s is what is average, normal for this time of year. That's where we should be. So we're just lucky right now that we're enjoying just a couple of degrees below that. I think that the most important thing here, though, are the dew points, because, like I said, we're going to have plenty of sun today, and temperatures will warm up, and we're going to be seeing these temperatures reaching those mid to upper 80s. However, since humidity levels are going to stay lower than usual, they're going to be in that pleasant category. It is going to feel quite nice. But again, notice as we approach the weekend and the start of the work week, there's going to be a little bit more humidity around. So expect those dew points to increase. Okay, well, with that, let's go ahead and move on to Tropical Storm Lorenzo. Over the weekend, very interesting, the National Hurricane Center was investigating it. It was an invest. And then as of this morning, it was organizing itself a little bit better, and that is when it took tropical storm strength. Right now, as of the 11 o'clock update, it did seem like it's getting a little stronger. So winds have increased quite a little bit more than what they were. Now, Lorenzo has become the 12th storm of the season. As of right now, not forecasted to become a hurricane, but we're continuing to watch that. But we did notice that in the latest cone, it did show that it had winds that were a little bit stronger than earlier this morning than the 5 o'clock advisory. So I'm going to punch that into the screen so that we can take a look at it. So yeah, winds right now, it's producing 50-mile-per-hour winds. It is moving northwest at 16 miles per hour. It's moving quite fast. It's not accelerating way too much, but it is fast moving. We can take a look at the cone right now, and it's going to be showing us that it's going to be staying a tropical storm for the next few days. Something that we're noticing is that it's dealing with some shear. Now, we know as it continues to move on to the middle of the week, it's going to encounter a trough, and before that trough, ahead of the trough, there's going to be some drier air, and that's going to affect its intensity. But notice how by Thursday morning, it could perhaps become a low-end category hurricane, since it's going to be producing 70 miles per hour. It's going to have 70 miles per hour winds. 75 is what it needs in order to become a Cat 1 hurricane. So that could be a possibility. But a lot of the ensembles are showing, I'm going to show you, this is the Euro. Well, I can't punch that in, so we'll have to wait for that. But one of the things that I wanted to let you know is that a lot of the models right now are either going in, thinking that hinting that it's going to be either a low-end tropical cyclone, or it could be a low-end hurricane. That's what the range is right now. So it is becoming better organized, still dealing with some shear. Like I was mentioning, it will encounter some drier air ahead of a trough, and then also because of that trough, possible residual shear from that. So this is why, intensity-wise, it doesn't look like it's going to become a major hurricane, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any type of rapid intensification. So this is the information that we have on Lorenzo right now. One of the best things that I could mention about Lorenzo is that it's going to stay far east. As you can see, the cone showing it opening up into the Atlantic. Usually we've been seeing that steering. I'm going to punch that back in so that you guys can take a look at that. That seems to be the trend of the season. All of these potential storms, or anything that ended up turning into a major hurricane, turning back into the Atlantic, becoming a fish storm, like we like to call it. But let's go ahead and bring the team, the panel here. Guys, this is the discussion that I was reading off of the National Hurricane Center, where it was explaining that it was dealing with shear, and it's also expected to deal with some drier air. Do you think that it's because of these ingredients that it's not going to be intensifying to more than a tropical storm?
Yeah, absolutely, right? So you can see that it's battling a little bit of shear, especially on the west side of it right now. You can see where most of the activity is very lopsided, more so on the eastern half of the system. But again, we're getting pretty late into the season. Seeing these storms spin up this far out in the Atlantic near the coast of Africa, the Cabo Verde Islands, it becomes more and more rare. And the reason why is because the ingredients just aren't there anymore. It becomes a little bit more hostile. The sea surface temperatures just aren't what they used to be. So that's why you get later in the season, if you see some of these late season storms develop further out in the Atlantic, then they're just not going to blow up like what they would, let's say, in August or September in that same location. Because typically for this time of year, you'll see most of the activity in the Caribbean and the Gulf. That's where there's still very warm waters. That's where you can see a little bit more of that intensity factor. But in terms of being this far away, yeah, this is exactly what you would expect for a late season storm this far out in the Atlantic.
Yeah, I'd go on to say that the water temperatures are pretty uniform on the warm side, not only in the Atlantic, but also in the Caribbean and, of course, the Gulf. So it's kind of a secondary part, but the shear is always going to increase, like Josh mentioned, late in the season, regardless of where in the tropics we're watching. Even in the Caribbean, even in the Gulf, even in the Atlantic, the jet stream is getting lower and lower. It's becoming more active, becoming more amplified, more north to south movement of the jet stream, which does lead to some more wind shear across all of the tropical Atlantic, whether that's the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or even the Gulf. So it's something that we're going to keep in mind with whatever could be developing, in the days, weeks, even over the next month, if at all. But what does develop late in this season traditionally has to battle way more wind shear than anything that were to develop in August or even the entire month of September per se, just because that's the traditional aspect. As we get closer and closer to fall, we get more swings in the jet stream, and that is not only across the Atlantic, it's across the entire United States, which includes the Gulf and the Caribbean.
Guys, speaking of what can we expect for the next long range, 10, 14 days, I was looking at some of the ensembles. I'm going to punch them up so that we can talk about them. This is the European ensemble, and it seems like there might be something that's going to be moving into the Caribbean, and this is long range. Obviously, this can change, right?
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about this potential system that might be moving into the Caribbean?
I mean, we always keep an eye on those low riding waves, of course, and as that treks eventually into what appears to be in the Caribbean there, we have that chance of seeing something develop. So, of course, we're going to keep an eye on it. That's our spot, that area, that hot spot where we start to watch things. I mean, hopefully things, maybe don't develop. We're so far out. We have to remember 10 to 14 days out. That's really a lifetime when it comes to the tropics because things can change so quickly. I mean, we went from yesterday, we had a 50% chance of that developing, Lorenzo I'm talking about, and then it developed, we woke up this morning 5 a.m. and that update was already out that it's a tropical storm. So things happen very quickly in the tropics. And also to say that, yes, we're watching, you see that cluster of those models there. Those are the ensemble models for the European. It shows that we have the potential of something trying to sniff out development. Right now, National Hurricane Center is not highlighting anything. Why are they not highlighting anything? We don't really have an area to track right now, so.
And it also could be because the GFS is not as convinced.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull the GFS so that we can compare it. Do you see the difference there? It doesn't seem like all the ensembles. It might have something that, again, might curve. So that is one of the biggest difference.
I would hope nothing curves there. I like the European one where most of them are staying far to the south where it wouldn't curve, just because if we get that curving like the GFS is trying to point out, then we get a Caribbean storm that has the potential to curve, and then we start getting into more issues. Even though it could curve to the Atlantic, the European isn't showing as much of a curve, showing another front that could be moving across the state of Florida that would block that system south and have it go straight towards the Yucatan, straight towards Central America, which would also be typical for things this time of year. But like we were mentioning, it's a lot to watch. It's 10 to 14 days out, but there still is something that could be watching. And what Lauren was mentioning with Invest 97L before it became Lorenzo, interesting note from the National Hurricane Center, it was already producing tropical storm force winds before it even had a defined surface circulation. So that could be the reason why it ramped up from 50% to 80% last night to tropical storm this morning, is because it was an area of low pressure that was already producing tropical storm force winds. It just had to have that closed surface circulation to become a tropical storm. And when I got in this morning, it was looking really good on satellite.
It got its act together. It really did.
It looked like it was a tropical storm. It looked like it was something that was developing into a tropical system. And then at around I think it was around 4:45, I finally saw the note from the National Hurricane Center saying they'd start to issue advisories as of 5 a.m. So it looked like a tropical storm. Thankfully, the National Hurricane Center agreed with that thought as well and went ahead to go issue that. But yeah, it's like the lows that we see this time of year. They could be developing into tropical storms and just have the tropical storm force winds, but not have that defined surface circulation, which without visible satellite, that gets hard to figure out if there's a defined surface circulation sometimes. They really have to figure things out and really look into the satellite imagery to find how tiny those circulations could be this time of year.
So I want to mention that here in the control room, Zach, when you were saying that there's another front that's going to be headed our way, so if the European ensembles actually end up moving anything into the Caribbean, that we like that. Somebody was yelling, "We love cold fronts." So yes.
There's the thumbs up.
There's Andrew.
Andrew.
I love cold fronts like I love my coffee at 11:20 in the morning.
I know.
Yeah, so he was very excited about that. So thank you for that. Guys, as you know, this is an interactive platform. We have messages coming in. I'm going to read a couple of things from YouTube that we're getting. Aaron Lowe, he says, Hurricane Wilma as a little kid in 2005 and now #1 being Hurricane Ian in Cape Coral for 9 hours straight. I guess he's answering that question that we were saying, what is the wildest that you've seen here in Florida? Then we have Yoshi, he's saying that the weather is so much better now. So he's very happy.
It feels gorgeous out there.
They're very happy. They're saying no hurricanes in Florida. Happy about that. So yes, thumbs up to that. Uber Cow is saying fall is here, winter is near.
I like that.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, then again, we can't get too comfortable because we're not going to be seeing these temperatures for too long, as I was showing you. It's going to be going back to what's normal for this time of year as we move into the beginning of next week.
But we'll enjoy it while we have it for sure.
Yeah, in the afternoons in the upper 80s, we'll take that compared to the 90s just because that is seasonal. It's been a while, I think, since we've said we've had a seasonal afternoon. It's been a little warm through much of late September and early October. So if it's 87, 88 every day, light northeast breeze, maybe a little breezy at times, I'll take it.
I know, I was saying this weekend, all this weekend, I mean, it's the humidity that makes all the difference, of course. So, you know, as long as we're not feeling that oppressive humidity, then hey, it feels good.
Yeah. And there's also other effects, right? When we have a high pressure and control, we get to see the sky very bright blue. Isn't that right, Josh? I want to point out.
Yes, it absolutely is.
What a segue.
And that is a great segue
away,
into our Weather Watcher Spotlight. So Val, while you punch up that picture, you know, sometimes it's nice when there's not any bad weather going on out there. So today I want to show off a beautiful picture. This coming to us courtesy of Mary. She's an amazing weather watcher for us here at the Weather Authority. You can see sunshine, blue skies. Now, sometimes you think about it, right? In the summertime, on a clear day, that sky, it's a little bit more of a light blue, right? Maybe even a little bit like milky out there, but versus the winter or even fall, where it becomes more of like that deep blue. And the question is, why is there a difference? And the reason why, it's all got to do with humidity, moisture content. If there is more moisture in the air, there's more water droplets, and those actually help to reflect the light. They scatters it, all right? It makes the light go different directions. Versus if you have drier air, like what we're seeing right now, you're having less water droplets in it, so it's not scattering that light quite as much. And for that reason, the sky starts to appear a little bit more blue. So definitely once we get into like November, December, and we get some really dry air that starts to move in behind a front, it will be noticeably more blue in the sky versus, let's say, in the peak of summer when the humidity, you got dew points at 78, 79 degrees, that sky is just not looking that same deep blue. So I just thought that was something cool to point out today and to think about over the next few days while we have that lower humidity in place.
I love the views like that. And anytime you get that picture perfect transparency of what's above the water to what's reflected on the water, that's always my favorite vantage point.
And the nice thing is we have a lot of water over here, so we can always see those really cool reflections.
Breaking news.
Yeah, beautiful picture. Beautiful picture. Mary never disappoints, guys. She never disappoints.
No, I think I used Mary's sunset photo last night, and then we used her sunrise photo this morning. So she's active, and it's gorgeous because
Thanks, Mary.
That piece of real estate is stunning, especially when you have the Caloosahatchee in the backyard. Yeah.
And the reason why Mary is able to send us all these pictures is because she's part of the Wink Weather Watchers. And you can also be part of the Wink Weather Watcher if you sign up on our website, winknews.com. You can fill out a release form. That way we can use your videos and your pictures and we can publish them on our newscast and also here on our streaming show. So don't forget to do that. Thank you so much. Guys, this week is going to be beautiful to do outdoor activities. We're in fall, pumpkin patches, et cetera, fun to be. And I think it's, I mean, I have to admit that when my kids were younger, we would go to the pumpkin patch area. Farmer Mike's, I think, is the one here locally. Yeah. And it was close to 90 degrees outside. And I would make them wear sweaters because it looked cuter in the picture. And my kids all sweaty. Yeah, it was terrible. So we did that a couple of times, and then I was like, okay, we gotta rearrange this. Maybe brown T-shirts or something. You
have to wear a sweater while you sit through the corn maze for 3 hours.
And do the corn maze. In the heat. Yeah, that was awful. That was awful.
The Farmer Mike's corn maze is awesome, by the way. I didn't do it this year yet, but I did it last year, and it does take a while. I did not think that it would take a while to do a corn maze, but it did take a while.
Yeah. Is that where you and your wife went this weekend, Zach? I saw your posts.
We went to where did we go? Oh, we went to Blossom and Brie, which is in North Fort Myers. Okay. They had it all decked out in fall stuff, which is always nice to see. But then my in-laws were in town, so they went to Lakes Park. So they had a big scarecrow fest going on as well. So check out all the parks, Lee County parks, the Collier County parks. I mean, there's a lot going on fall-wise for kids, kiddos. I know we had the Naples Zoo.
Oh yeah, Boo at the Zoo.
Yeah. So it's nice to see the weather behaving with fall activities. And if you have a pumpkin outside your house, it might not rot as fast as years past.
Let us know. Send us pumpkin updates.
Yeah,
I'm not going to buy anyone anytime soon. I'd buy it like the week before.
That's what we do, before,
I have one in the house.
It's going to stink. Oh, that's good. In the house, too. That's awesome. Lauren, speaking of,
Yeah.
do you have any signs in 60 seconds that you want to share with us?
I do. I was digging for something interesting this morning, and I found out that I wanted to look up the last time we had a Lorenzo. And you may remember, it's only a few years back, of course, 2019 now, where we had Hurricane Lorenzo. And interestingly enough, that was the strongest hurricane ever observed to the east and north of the Atlantic. So that was a Category 5 storm. So last time we were talking about Lorenzo, a completely different story in terms of strength. I mean, Category 5, 160 mile per hour winds, that's where it peaks at. And it reached that Category 5 strength at a very odd latitude for a longitude for a storm. It was the furthest east of a storm to develop there in the Atlantic. So that's pretty wild. I mean, we have, of course, Lorenzo that we're tracking now, which is not a hurricane, and thankfully not a Category 5 hurricane. But that was a record breaker back in 2019 when we last used the name Lorenzo.
Oh, wow, that's always, I love that. I love knowing when we used it, and obviously, you know, that we get to use it again, because we don't reuse the names if they've become a hurricane and created devastation.
Yeah, so thankfully that one didn't cause damage. It just was the most easternmost and northernmost in the Atlantic basin.
I guess it follows the eastern track again this year, right? I mean,
Exactly.
It's pretty far east, and it's going to get farther east, yeah.
All right, guys, I have some Facebook comments that I want to share with you. We have Drew Hamilton. He's joined the chat, and he says, hi, Val. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Josh and Zach.
Hi.
So he's tuned in.
I think Drew's from the Des Moines market. When I worked at KCCI 8 in Des Moines, he was always a big follower up there. So hello to you, Drew. I'm sure we miss you up there.
He's our honorary anchor here.
He's an honorary anchor, yeah.
That's awesome.
There's another Drew Hamilton up in Iowa, by the way, too, I think, yeah.
Okay, nice.
There's a lot of Drew Hamiltons out
Drew
there.
I knew there were
Hamilton's.
2 different ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have a comment from Casper Gregory. He says, good morning, weather team. He's tuned in.
Good morning.
Good morning, Casper.
Oh, I have a really interesting one, you guys. This is from Allison. She says, good morning from Ohio. Southwest Florida will soon be home.
There we go.
Yay!
I love it. Come on down.
We
Just
love
in
to hear
time.
that. Wait, so what's the temperature right now? No, I'm just gonna let me look up Columbus,
See,
Ohio.
Allison, if you are tuned in, let us know what's the temperature right now
What
in
if she
Ohio.
hates Columbus,
And
Ohio?
when will you be
Well,
moving down? You said soon. We would love
Ohio's
to
a
know
big
when.
state.
It's right now in Columbus, Ohio. It's 67 degrees. If I don't know if that like she's specifically from Columbus. I just picked a random.
That's where we started this morning.
67.
Yeah.
Oh, they meant in.
Oh,
I thought
we
you
did not
meant in
start in
Columbus.
We started at 67 degrees.
No,
Josh
we
and I
started.
started news coverage live from
I
Columbus.
was like, wow, I missed a lot this morning.
For all
clearly.
of our Ohio State fans down here.
Yeah.
So Rachel Robinson is actually answering back to Allison, and she says, come hurricane prepare mentally and physically, but we're here for you, Allison. We're going to help you prepare, so no need to worry. Casper says, it's the long-range signal of the second wave that just emerged off Africa, may require some attention, which
Definitely
we were
watching it.
talking about. So yeah. So it says, Rachel is saying, Southwest Florida has 2 seasons, hurricane and rainy.
That's true.
People are having fun with
How many different versions of summer do we have, though, too? Don't we always
True.
have, like, the fake fall and the real fall, and then the,
This would be considered fake fall, right? I guess.
Maybe.
It's
maybe
like a
not,
very
hopefully
gray
not.
area because we're kind of like, this is fall.
Yeah. I mean, it is October, so you know.
There have been Christmases here where it's been in the 60s and 70s, and there have been Christmases where it's been like in the upper 80s and near 90s. So we've been lucky the last, I think, 4 or 5 years being cooler and colder, but gosh, that 2018, 2019 year when we barely had the fronts, I think those Christmases were when it was like 86, 87.
Last year was so foggy on
88.
Christmas. Remember that?
Yeah.
I got one last comment
Okay.
on Facebook. This is from Mike Wamsley. Y'all stay blessed. So sending us blessing back
There we
to
go.
you.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
Love that, Mike. Thank
We
you
need
so
it until
much.
November 30th. We'll take it.
We need it until November. That's right. You guys, any takeaways from today's episode that you want to just touch on real quick before we leave?
I'll go. I mean, we're just going to be watching that one wave. Of course, we don't have anything that we are tracking at this time, but with that one wave that is below Tropical Storm Lorenzo that hasn't developed, we are going to continue to monitor that in the days ahead. But when I say days ahead, I mean days ahead, really week ahead, because it's just so far out there. So no worries with it right now, but there's something we're going to monitor. So you got to tune in. We'll keep you updated with those ensembles.
My one takeaway is I'm allowed to drink coffee while doing this show, unlike my being on TV for 2.5 minutes. So
I think we're gonna join.
I don't even
you.
know if I'm allowed to. I'm just,
What do you mean you're not allowed to?
no one has yelled at me yet, but.
Oh, I love it. This is a coffee drinking show.
I wish I had mine.
I hope everybody that's watching right now is actually with their coffee mug in
Yeah.
hand. And I think that for tomorrow, I think I might have my coffee
Do
in
it.
hand.
Pumpkin
Do it.
spice.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice.
the fall
that's what you
vibes.
This
like,
is the
yeah.
this is the work coffee. I already drank my own.
Thank you for elaborating on
There's no
that.
pumpkin spice. Unless you want to buy some pumpkin spice creamer, Lauren.
You know what? I'll get right on that for you, Zach.
That's good. Josh, how about you? No, you're not a coffee drinker, are you?
No,
Not
no.
your style,
I am
that's
not.
You're crazy.
No, it's all
And what-
Kuna Matata in my neighborhood. We're good to go.
That's why we had to
There's
shift
the-
his hours back to come in a little bit later, just so we felt bad for him waking up bright and early with no coffee.
Yeah.
I don't need coffee. I run off life, spirit, energy. I'm good.
All right. See you tomorrow at 2 a.m.
I'll be there.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining this episode, and thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're going to be discussing what to expect. We're going to keep a really close eye on what's going on in the tropics, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11, Monday through Friday.
Bye.
Ciao.